Welcome back. I'm going to continue on. What I'd like to do now is start to flush out and sort of now move into how, besides sort of how to, through witchcraft, paganism, a lot of these nature religions, whatever you want to call it, the New Age, how this, a lot of this information now, a lot of metaphysical information is coming back to us front and center. And unfortunately, most Western Christians do not have a correct apologetic to answer back in intelligent dialogue, that because we don't understand what's going on. We've sort of thrown the baby out with the bathwater. All right, and it's why we need to read the writings, master the writings in the House of Judah, especially the Zoharic, Kabbalistic, the deeper understandings that will give us what's going on behind the veil. Now, so, all right, so let me go into, okay, and how this has to do with idols, and how, I mean, really, we are so full of idols. We cannot even come back to the land yet. The land really does have to get cleaned up, so to speak. Let me say this now. Words, polysemous, many levels of meaning. When the word earth is used in our text, on one level always, because the word, they're always true all at the same time. You just have to determine what realm is being described with that meaning. The word earth refers to Adam. Where Adam is made of the dust. I think in the word Adon, Adam is the word earth. They're the same, just where you put the vowel points, okay? And blood, Adam, and Adam, I think are all the same Hebrew letters, and it's just where you put the vowel points. I think that's correct. But earth is another code word for Adam. And so in the restoration of the heavens and the earth, what it's talking about is a cleaning up, so to speak. What Yahweh is having to do is make a whole new. This is the point. Adam, a whole new Adam, caveman, new heavens, which is always refers, it's really talking about the soul life, the spirit, the soul and the spirit, all right? The inner man, the kingdom that is within, which you can't really see. That's really what that is, and the earth, our physicality. So in other words, in the resurrection, we will have bodily containers, okay, for this image and likeness of Elohim. We were back to being sons of the Most High with a completely cleaned up and, again, eternal systems. All our systems will go forever now. Okay, so, but earth, it's important to understand, because earth on one level when used this way, so when it says the earth is the Lord's and the fullness of the, yes, on one level, you know, yeah, the whole earth is he made it, but it's also talking about the earth is the Lord's, our body, our essences, our who we are, individually and corporately belong to the Lord. All right, I guess what we need to retool our understanding is that biblically, the heavens are more the servant. And the heavens is, you know, by angels. Angels all live in the heavens, these different dimensional things. The demonic elements actually all live below. This is why you get these words Sheol and Tartarus, and hey, they're all below. Okay, and then you have the earth sort of is in the middle. All right? So much of it makes sense, I don't think, but the earth, we need to, the heavens serve the earth, all right? That's why Heliocentric, the earth doesn't move around the sun moves around the earth. There are servants. Angels are servants of the Most High. Now, on one level, yes, we are called servants. That's why you have to really always be critically thinking and keep correct correspondences always with these words. But angels are the servants, the armies of the Most High, and they're supposed to serve the Adam, all right? Many Luciferians, this is the point, understand how to always make the elementals and the heavens serve them and their agendas, their lower nature, their demonic negative. Okay, that's a knowledge base that has always been, that's what's in dark, right? How to, all right? Many of the most elevated saints of the Most High have also known how to use and make the heavens, so to speak, and serve the purposes of Elohim. And this is something, again, I believe that it's going to come back to the elect of the last days, where we are going, and this is what it says too about the two quote-unquote witnesses at the end of the age, these, whether it's an individual or corporately or both, the whole, are going to be able to make the heavens and the earth serve the purposes of Elohim. All right? So this is sort of an adjustment in our mind we need to make. That's why Yeshua said, look, I can call down legions of angels to, get me out of this situation or do whatever I need to do because they're my servants. I speak and they do. All right? And this is, but when it comes to understanding the fallen angels, the angels that are in alliance with their Lord, their master, Lucifer, and the elemental, let's say the whole chain of command, from Lucifer to his top general, so to speak, and all the way down to even the lowest bacteria, that's what I was talking about, on the planet, that are aligned with the signs of the North, that are so what? It's not an accident that a lot of viruses, a lot of bacteria, a lot of germs, that is a domain. There is a negative demonic domain in the Sefer Arca of the demonic realms that they can do warfare on us even at that level. So, that's why in a lot of ways we do need a combination of Eastern and Western understanding, because we do need to understand the subatomic world and the holistic, the other side of the coin, how it is influenced, the energies and what's being energized. This knowledge base coming together is going to be very powerful. And when it's cleaned up and pure and holy, and we are only using these forces under the direction of the head, and for holy purposes, for Yahweh's purposes. Most dark magic they use it for their purposes. We're in a war. Number one, it's a war against the state. They'll use it to try to bring all the saints down. They use it just to try to control, manipulate, and engorge for themselves. So these are, all right, but this has always been true. So the ancients, and I think in a lot of ways, they had to deal with this in a much more in-your-face way. It's so much been because of the way they've repackaged knowledge to us, science. It's not as in your face anymore, but it's been coming back, and now actually to the end of the age. Now you watch TV, go to a movie, and it is totally in our face again. All right, enough of that. Okay, demons, idols, and fallen angels. Let's try to get a handle on this. How demons get power over men. A good book to read, you should read Clementine Homilies. There's a lot of, hold on, I've been talking about, there's a lot of information, excellent information in the Clementine Homilies, especially about some of these deeper understandings. The fallen angels from Genesis 6 that taught men that demons could, by certain arts, by magical invocations, be made to obey men. So what I just said, I didn't make up. I mean, this is what's going on. And so, as from a furnace and workshop of immorality, they filled the whole world with the smoke of impiety, the light of piety being withdrawn. Okay, this is from the Clementine Homilies, chapter 15, and I have page 125 and 130. I think, all right, but the point is, let's look at this, because when I told you about fire, smoke, and sulfur, in our text it's called brimstone, but it really is the chemical element sulfur, that they are they're the same thing, entity in three different, so in the physical it's sulfur, in the astral it's smoke, and in the spiritual it is fire. All right, so so fire would be, okay, so in essence I do believe that the initial fallen were fiery angels. I don't want to get into that, because there's a ton of information. I have playlists on angels. There's so much we can know and understand. We are to be wise as serpents, we're supposed to understand good angels and bad, the whole concept, what's being told us here. All right. Now, Ham also, this is a part of the story when I told you about how there are souls, good soul, white souls, black souls, and red souls. But at the same time, there is what is being told to us in some of these, like the original sons of Noah, who repopulated the earth, Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, is a archetypal, allegorical way of explaining to us how these three levels of soul life came back into the whole manifestation in the earth plane. All right. And Ham, that's why Ham is always equated sometimes. When Ham is called black, I'm sorry, I don't think we're talking about black people. We are talking about black souls. Ham's, I can't even flush, I don't want to take too much time on flushing on this. Ham was the first magician after the flood. His mother was a Canaanite. We know this now from extra biblical writings. And he, the whole story of his line, Ham, Mitzrayim, Nimrod, and Cush, all right, their whole repopulation in the earth and their works and their fruit really did produce, again, a lot of bad fruit. They really went back on and least attached to the demonic side. Now, that is part of the story. Whereas Shem, it says, again, that line, that soul, those people, they found each other in the sense, and they were producing, again, a holy, righteous soul line. And then you have, again, all these mixed multitudes, people in the middle. All right. This is important information to have, understand. But the fallen angels, again, and we have to understand that these angels are not more powerful than we are. This is another piece of the lie. They have flipped everything around because of the fall. They got the upper hand because we're under judgment and cursing. All the angel of death has power over us, all these different reasons. But through Yeshua, especially at the end of the age, we will get back all of our mojo, so to speak. All right. Now, Kappa explains, Kappa's Peter in the Clementine Homilies explains that the fallen downward spiral of the human race is the formation of false religions, and it's even bigger than religion. It's all false patterns of understanding that do not acknowledge Yahweh Elohim and his sephiritic work in the world is an idol, is a false image, ultimately, and of death. All right. So again, these demons taught mankind, those that sought it, magical implications of how to get the angelic realms, the forces behind all of nature, all of matter, to obey men, to obey them and their darkness. This is magicians. This is warlocks. This is the whole. Even down, you think it's so benign doing little nature correspondences with stones and these little Wiccan nature spells and all this thing that people think today are so innocent. And I don't know if this is true, but I just read this because Brady, what's his name? The football player. I can't remember his first name. Brady. There was an article with his wife. She touts herself as a witch, and she came out and said, hey, he's winning because I am doing all this awesome witchcraft for him, invoking the forces of heaven to come down on his side. And I'm like, oh, and then they're touting themselves as these Christian couple. I'm like, oh my gosh, if this is even remotely true, we are in such deep. Anyways, so that this knowledge, okay, so this is from the Clementine Homilies. This is from Irenaeus, another one I haven't explained, because see, this is part of what's the storyline and what's been going on. These fallen angels, and it's not just the fallen angels. In other words, so some days when I go back to maybe unfortunately, there's a hierarchy. The Mazal, the Mazaroth, the level of living beings that run the Mazaroth. This level, I think, is the quote unquote the Titans. This level, good and bad, it's populated, Lucifer slowly took 1/3. I think as we get to the darkness, he gets more and more and more and more and more on his side. All right, that's part of what. Oh, I know. I have to make this point. I'm sorry. I have so much information to get out. The earth. My point on bringing up the earth is because when it says verses like, the earth was like a drunkard and swaying to and fro. A lot of these verses that on one level, yes, there is a lot of tossing of the winds or tossing of the seas and these kind of, but these are talking in other about huge demonic wars that are going on in the heavenlies. And as the earth today, people become more and more filled with darkness, literally antennas for dark demonic energies. Our behavior, oh my gosh, to date this video again, New York State just passed abortion for late term births. I mean, and we are just totally tanking on moral issues. Just the divorce, the drug, everything that's in our culture. We are so full of darkness at this point, dark demonic energy, be it in our thoughts, be it in our spirits, be it in our actions, and in every. So this is so full of idols. All right, that the earth, if it's no wonder we're reeling in the earth. There's a crash and burn coming. All right, because you can't sustain it. Yahweh will not put up with it forever. This is the point. There is an end game. There always has been an end game. He's going to come and clean house, put down all rule and authority. All this is coming into the light. Game over. And your place is pretty much sealed for all eternity. We need to start preaching the gospel, of the fear of Elohim in the sense of, and it's so late in the game, but let me get down to what I want to say. But angels were mismanaging the world. There has been a level of total mismanagement. This is what the ancients understood, and a lot of their mythologically, and the Greeks did this, putting it into, the Titans and the Olympians, and giving anthropomorphic realities to these gods, lower G's, lower gods, lower Elohims, lower angelic authorities, who were mismanaging the world, and incredible to the fact that they took the pre-flood world totally. Then again, Yahweh had totally wiped the slate clean, totally, and it's again back up to that point where again total intervention is needed. All right. These angels were mismanaging the world, and since each of them desired sovereignty, and this is there's so much into this, but this idea, and this is where you get into the 70 gods of the nations. I have taught on this. You need to kind of get up to speed. That over the nations, the Elohim over Israel is Yahweh Elohim. The Elohim over the nations is our lower angelic entities, authorities. Here, I'm disappearing. I don't know how to get back into the light of this thing. All right. Yeshua came to set matters right. He came to begin a process now of integrating the lost sparks, the chi, the light, those who were still had Abraham's seed in them, back into a household of faith. He transforming himself, making himself lower than these angels, coming as a man again with a whole plan of redemption, where he was able to defeat these principalities and these powers, and in other words, buy us back. I mean, this is a lot of literally what's going on in the whole first coming of Yeshua for the nations. Now, this is where a lot of the Luciferians totally understand this. They know this. Their initiated priests, their level of warcraft, witchcraft, which is a priesthood, is, again, like I said, every tree, as he said, you have to examine the fruit, the actions of the tree, to find out really sometimes ultimately where its root is. Is it rooted in the middle pillar, the narrow way, holding the tree of life, or is it from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil? These initiated priests, Luciferian, dark side, bloodline, they live totally immorally. Every one of them practices, and this is a quote from Iranians, all right, so I'm quoting an ancient text where they totally understood. It says every one of them practices magic arts to the best of his ability. They use exorcism, incantations, love potions, and other spells which are called familiars and dream senders, and the rest of the curious arts are assiduously cultivated by them. They also have an image of Simon. Well, this is Simon Magus, made in the likeness of Jupiter of Helen. Now that gets into some very specific stuff. Sometimes I want to teach on Simon Magus and what was going on there. No, he wasn't Paul, and this is where we're so confused on the players in this thing. Okay, so the fact that from the time of Christ to our own day, we have not understood sort of the role of magicians, of warlocks. It was so stamped and forced to go underground by the huge explosion of light of Yeshua and the power that was given in the first century. But at the end of the age, it's all been able to creep back up on top of us sort of and dominate. Now, but what I need to say is this witchcraft is coming back to us. Okay, so bad enough the Eastern religions, which are sort of getting people, you get back to a metaphysical mindset, and you can begin to learn about how there is legitimate, I'm not saying everyone who goes into these is evil, because a lot of people are just looking for greater light, greater power. This is a drawing, I believe, all things work together for good, for Yahweh's plan. It's trying to introduce the Western mindset to the fact that, hey, there is more than goes on beyond, there are other levels to this thing. So Eastern can introduce you to metaphysical understandings, and because one thing you have in the Western mindset, you have just the Greeks, this whole Greek mindset, which is also just intellectualized again. Earth, air, wind, and fire, and the words they use is telling us a lot of correct Zoharic understanding, but it's still, a lot of it's just totally intellectual. Then you have the Luciferians on the other side that no, it's not just intellectual, there's real power to be had here, and there's a complete power grab going on, versus the elect holy Sadiq,